Hi, my dear friends. This is Saravanan Balakrishnan. Today, I'm going to talk about how anyone can start in stock markets. To give you a brief about stock markets, anyone can start in stock markets. A stock market is a place where you can buy and sell multiple stocks. So, basically, what is a stock? So, stock is actually an equity where you can actually become a part owner in any company. For example, uh, I'm using this mouse called Logitech. So if the Logitech stock is again trading in the stock markets, and if I like this company's products, and if I want to become a part owner of this company, now I can buy some shares in this company. So likewise, there are plenty of other products that are again available in the markets, like where again these companies again they trade in stock markets, where again people can buy and sell different shares. So basically, you have the option to participate in the prospect and growth story of any company that's trading in different stock exchanges across the world. So now step one. So if you wanted to begin your career in stock markets, you should actually know the basics of stock markets in terms of having a basic trading account, demat account, and also in terms of knowing a few basic rules before we even start investing. So step one. So why are we there to participate in the stock markets? To create wealth. That's one of the single most reason people wanted to become part of the investing community. Like take for instance, there are great investors like Benjamin Graham, Peter Lynch, Nick Sleep, Jesse Livermore. So there are a lot of plenty of examples which we can again refer back to. So almost if you see almost all of these great investors, they have certain investment philosophies, right? So investment philosophies is nothing but rules that you follow before you make any potential investment. Personally, one of my favorite book of all time is The Intelligent Investor. So it's written by the famous Benjamin Graham. So Benjamin Graham, he talks about primarily two major principles. Though he had spoken about many aspects, but I liked these two concepts that lays the foundation for the Intelligent Investor book. The number one that he talks about is buying a stock below the intrinsic value. So what does the intrinsic value means? So intrinsic value is nothing but knowing the true value of a stock. So what does a true value means? True value is nothing but how much a company can earn over a long period of time. And second is again margin of safety. So while we the margin of safety concept comes from the famous King Hammurabi, who almost existed almost 2000 years ago. So what he primarily did was he when his engineers they built a bridge, they were put to test, and he made 100 elephants to cross that bridge. So by doing that, he knew that the bridge that was constructed would meet all the safety guidelines for decades and centuries to come. Engineers seeing such stringent measure put by King Hammurabi, they put in 10 times more safety measures in the bridge so that the bridge has the safety even if 100 and 200 elephants they pass by. So likewise, the same concept applies to our investing as well. So which Benjamin Graham calls it margin of safety. So if you see Benjamin Graham, so he lived between multiple world wars, World War One and World War Two. So where almost he experienced the Great 1929 Great Depression. So where people lost almost most of their wealth by a massive stock market crash, and also due to the potential wars that happened between this time period. So with Benjamin Graham's detailed analysis of what happened in the stock markets during his time period, he identified that buying a stock below its intrinsic value will give an investor huge margin of safety to avoid losing their capital. So I remember this one famous philosophy that's mentioned by Thiruvalluvar, who is again a famous philosopher in the Tamil literature. He actually has written almost 1330 couplets. So a couplet is nothing more like a proverb which has a deeper wisdom and insight about a certain theme. So Thiruvalluvar has written about 1330 couplets on three different categories. The first one being virtue, wealth, and love. So under the category wealth, he has a subcategory called ways of creating wealth. So where again he has written 10 couplets about ways to create wealth in a virtuous and righteous manner. So in that he talks about an intelligent investor will not undertake any activity that will result in permanent loss of capital, right? So what he means by that is we should not venture into a new activity that has the potential to lose our principle that we again put in the first place. So again, the same message that Valluvar quoted 2000 years ago resonates even what Warren Buffett had mentioned, which is rule number one, don't lose money, and rule number two, don't forget rule number one. So again, almost any investor that you take in history, they almost suggest not to lose money. So in order to finish first, we have to first finish. And every investor should remember this. So if you are again venturing into stock markets, it's important to survive. So almost I met multiple marquee investors while I travel to different places. So almost anyone I have seen who had created wealth, so they are almost gray haired and they are aged above 50, right? So they might have started their stock market career almost from the age of 18 or 20, but nevertheless, they created most of their wealth only post the age of 50. That is reason being is that they have seen multiple market cycles, they have seen multiple market crashes, and they are able to develop that patience and temperament that the stock market demands from each investor, right? So there is again a famous quote or even a joke that goes in stock market where stock market is a place where the money transfers from the impatient to the patient. So I can very well relate to this with another example where like Warren Buffett again he invested in the company called Coca-Cola that makes a sugar drink from the age of 12. So from the age of 12, he was again doing some part-time jobs where he used to make a few dimes. So through that again he used to buy shares uh, in the Coca-Cola company. So now today, if you see in 2021, almost Warren Buffett owns a major portion of Coca-Cola. So where again he had also mentioned in the recent annual conference that he will continue to hold Coca-Cola. So almost great investors they made money in few stocks and they held them for a very very long period of time. So that has made them to create wealth. So in stock markets, what's more important is the patience and again to hold high quality companies. Today, when I see most of the people, they're investing in cryptocurrencies as well as other fads and fancies of this time period. But the problem is, we do not know when the regulators or the government will impose a ban on these novel investments. So now, considering that there is always an element of speculation and also something called a greater fool's theory. So if you are buying a particular asset at at a value of X, you are expecting that there is someone available in the stock markets who will buy much greater price than what you paid for. But in reality, that never happens. If you see the great stock market crash of 2001, 2008, or even much before that, history tells that. So the pigs always they get slaughtered in the end. So it's always important to know what the true value of a stock is, and again pay below the intrinsic value of that particular stock price. So there might be new IPOs that might come in, or there might be an attractive investment that might again come in at any point of time. But for an investor, what's more important is to know what the company is actually worth and then paying a below price so that again he can participate in the long term growth story of that company. That's the most important part. And the second thing is whether the company has a moat around it. So moat is nothing but a protection or a competitive advantage. So for example, if you know Gillette, which is the most famous shaving razor company across the world, so where again almost they dominate this whole sector, almost 90-95% of the market share. So even if I go to any supermarket in my hometown, I cannot find a different blade that's manufactured anything apart from Gillette. So now Gillette has almost 90-95% market share. The same goes for Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and also HDFC Bank, Kotak, Bajaj. So there are plenty of other examples that are available globally. So even manufacturing companies like 3M and a lot of other companies which are pharmaceutical companies and even consumer goods companies, so they have different pricing power, network effects, and also again good brand recognition, which makes their brand much stronger, which gets trust from their consumers, and as a result again they are able to reinvest capital at a much larger rate, which lets them to create value for their shareholders over the long of time. Keeping this in mind, I would suggest you to read the works of Benjamin Graham, Peter Lynch, and also again read some letters of Warren Buffett, which indeed helps you to develop your basic understanding about stock markets. And the most important thing is reading about history. This is something that I missed out much earlier, but I realized it's important pretty later on in my life. So history again gives us some historical data points about how human behavior uh, has occurred in different stages of stock markets. Like for example, people sell in panic and buy in greed. When the stock markets go higher and higher up, the neighbors they start making more money. People get delusional that since their neighbors are making money, they would also want to jump the bandwagon to buy stocks at any price, which indeed is the most common problem that's faced by investors across the world. So it's what is more important is to understand how we react when different event plays out in the stock markets. So they say that history repeats itself. History never repeats, but it often rhymes. So in every market cycle, what we have seen is people almost buy expensive stocks at the top of the market, and when the stock price goes by 70-80%, they almost sell it. And the smart institutional investors they buy them at a much cheaper price and sell them to the retail investor at a much higher price. So this is no example. So where again we have seen this happening over tens and hundreds of decades, and the human behavior tend to not change, right? So I would like to again quote about Charlie Munger. Like Charlie Munger again, he's again the co-chairman of Berkshire Hathaway and also the partner of Warren Buffett. So he says that more money has been made uh, by rather sitting, right? So today Charlie Munger is almost 91 years old, and he never does intraday trading, right? Where buy shares this minute and sell it when the stock market is closing. So where again he looks companies that are again run by competent management, and that has a good competitive advantage, and when they are attractively priced. So if you notice the stock market chart of any major stock index, right? In India we have Nifty and Sensex, and if you go to US, so we have Dow Jones Index and Nasdaq. So where again almost every 5-10 years there is again a crash of more than 30% to 50%. So during this time period, what happens is the individual stocks they even go more, right? So that is a time when stock markets are filled with a lot of panic, when there are more sellers than buyers. So during these instances, as a rational investor, we have to buy it from the pessimist and sell it to the optimist. That's the most important role in stock markets. So now keeping this aside, to summarize, number one, we need to have a demat and trading account if you want to get started in the stock market. Number two, we need to understand what we own and own what you know what you own and own what you know. right? So not everyone is an expert in everything. You might work in a software development company, or you might be a part of a consumer company. So you might be at a better place to understand what your company does and what your company's competitor does. So when you have given that advantage, you can again look for companies that are well placed who can capitalize on these opportunities, right? And you can build your own circle of competence where you have an edge over other investors when you make any investment. Number three, look for competitive advantage. Without competitive advantage, more competitors are going to come into the space, and the company is going to be out of market soon. Number four, look for companies that are run by honest promoters, right? So without honest promoters, we are not going to make money. In India, I can quote multiple examples like Satyam Computers, and also a few other computers where the promoter later turned out to be a fraud, due to which again it had resulted in a permanent loss of capital. And number five, so we need to understand more about what are the long-term prospects of a company, and how the products are valued in the market. So nothing meets the eye test where we can understand how the consumers are liking the product, right? And number six, we need to buy it at the right price. So no matter how much attractive the stock is or how big the company is, we can overpay for it. So we need to now pay an attractive price for that stock to make us money over long term. So history has shown us whenever we have paid more money, or we buy a high PE stock which does not have any growth or other triggers, we might again lose money over long term. Number seven, we need to read history to understand what had happened in the past, so that that can act as a guiding principle for us to make good decisions in the future. Number eight, we need to read more about books written by famous investors, so that we'll be able to understand their mental models, which we can use in our day-to-day lives, right? So that's the single most important thing. So we need to know how we can inculcate this, so that we can know what could be done when similar events again happen. And the last point that I want to know is invest for the long term. A good investor, they have the courage to buy, vision to see, and patience to hold, with patience being the toughest. Like Munger had said, more money has been made by sitting rather than doing intraday trading. So as investors, we need to find high quality companies, buy them at a reasonable price, and hold them for a very long period of time. So this is a common pattern that we see across multiple investors. It doesn't require more IQ. So all investor requires is a good amount of EQ and patience that will again help them to make money. And don't forget that you shouldn't gamble in the stock markets, right? So if you think that you can fool others, so the biggest one to fool is ourselves. With that note, so if you like this video, kindly press the subscribe button and the bell icon, so that next time when I post any video, you'll automatically get the updates. Feel free to post your questions in the comment section, so that I will try to answer them as much as possible, or even make a new video out of it next time. Until then, see you next time.